This is BBC Radio 3. It's now 3.5 minutes past 2 and time for the BBC Archive. This week I'll be playing a selection of the many and varied recordings made by the conductor Stanford Robinson. That's Stanford Robinson conducting the BBC Theatre Orchestra in his own Valse Lente, which for many years was the theme tune to a much-loved BBC radio programme, Tuesday Serenade. Stanford Robinson's time as a conductor with the BBC spans some 40 years. He joined when the corporation was in its infancy, and by the time he retired in the mid-60s, he could look back over a career that had seen him in charge of several choirs and orchestras, conducting revues and operas, light and symphonic music. In this afternoon's programme, I'll be illustrating some of the qualities that Robinson brought to music making at the BBC. There's energy, professionalism, and not least versatility, a quality that's rather out of fashion these days. We'll be hearing orchestral music by Schubert, Roberto Gerard and Matthias Scheiber. On the operatic side, there's an extract from a legendary 1939 broadcast of Massenet's Manon with Maggie Tate and Hedel Nash. And the programme ends with a complete performance of Gilbert and Sullivan's Trial by Jury. Next, though, comes something less familiar by the French composer Reynaldo Hahn, whose ballet La Fête chez Thérèse was first performed in Paris in 1910. And from the score come these four charming dances, recorded by the BBC Theatre Orchestra in 1944, with Stanford Robinson conducting. a lively and very French waltz, ending that selection from Reynaldo Hahn's ballet La Fête chez Thérèse. Stanford Robinson conducted the BBC Theatre Orchestra. Stanford Robinson was born in Leeds in 1904 into an extremely musical family. His father was a choirmaster and conductor, and his mother was a soprano. Indeed, she sang in the Leeds Festival Chorus in the year he was born. Charles Villars Stanford was the conductor that year, and that's how Stanford Robinson came by his first name. He always knew he wanted to conduct, and in due course he took up a place at the Royal College of Music to study with Adrian Boult. It was in 1924, at the age of 19, that he was plucked out of the college and sent over to Savoy Hill to take up a job in the music department of the fledgling BBC. Later in life, Stanford Robinson, or Robbie as he was always called, talked to Rex Palmer about that remarkable episode. He remembered his first day well.
March the 10th, I wandered into Savoy Hill, eventually shown up to an office outside Kenneth Wright's, and I'd been taken on a trial period, I suppose, really.
As a musician?
As a musician, oh yes, to conduct
yes.
And be his general sort of musical dog's body, you know. Mm-hmm. And I came in, and it was Dorothy Wood, now on the concerts manager staff here, showed me to a desk, and she gave me a clean blotter, some pens and paper, and a telephone. And I just sat down and waited to work. Nothing happened at all. The whole morning, eventually I was asked if I'd like a cup of coffee. But by lunchtime, not a stroke of work had I done. So I said, would it be all right if I went out? And he said, yes. Came back, waited for more work. Nothing happened. 5 o'clock, 5:15. We were supposed to finish at 5:30. I was just thinking of saying, could I go home now? When Dorothy Wood came and said, Mr. Kenneth Wright would like you to see him. He was a big noise then in my department, and so I went to see him, trepidation, and he was softly nice and said, hello, Robbie, I wonder if you'd do something for me. And I said, delighted, I've been doing nothing all day. He said, I wonder if you'd ring up Charing Cross Station and ask them the price of a season ticket to Richmond.
Well, after that laid-back beginning, things did get moving quite quickly. He conducted his first concert the following week, and before long he began working with the BBC's various choral ensembles, which he had a hand in founding, both professional and amateur. That association was to last for 8 years, and it proved to be ideal for Robinson, with his solid background in the Yorkshire choral tradition. Then in 1932 he was appointed to a job which took him in a slightly different musical direction.
What will people say about you? You're so attractive, yes, in your set they agree. You're bad as you can be, ain't true. You're not bad, it may be you're indiscreet, but thousands are at your feet, and that's not bad. Not bad, you may be a bit too gay, but you're not the one to pay, and that's not bad.
In my smile may lie much more than meets the eye. Guess that's the reason why I get away with murder.
Not bad. You've got what they can't resist. You kiss them and they say kiss, and that's not bad.
Not bad. It may be you're indiscreet, but thousands are at your feet, and that's not bad. Wa-da-da-da-dum-da-dum, not bad. You may be a bit too gay, but you're not the one to pay, and that's not bad. And that's not bad. In your smile may be much more than meets the eye. Guess that's the reason why you can get away with murder. What done? Not bad. You've got what they can't resist. You kiss them and they say kiss, and that's not bad.
I shall now go out and make good.
But how do you propose to dance?
Well, that's rather difficult, but I'll find a way. After all, I've had a correspondence course in business efficiency, accountancy, salesmanship, and forceful personality.
Well, I hope that you'll try and forget me.
No, I can't do that. I had a course in memory training, too. But I must be alone. I want to think.
Hello, Jack. I say, have you heard the one about the barmaid's daughter?
Not bad. It's It's older than London town. It's dead, but it won't lie down. And that's not bad.
Hello, Jack. Where's the hurry?
Don't stop me, I want to think.
You'll find the bar in the library.
I said think, not drink, not bad. I never could stand that fool. South end of a northbound mule. Ha! That's not bad.
Hello, Jack.
Hello, where'd you say the bar was?
In the library.
Good. At least not bad.
Hello, Jack.
I'm too busy to see you.
Sorry.
Probably when I found the bar, I'll see you twice to make up. Hello, barmaid, barman.
Drink, sir? Take your pick. Here's one, the Kiss Me Quick. It gives you such a kick, you'll get away with murder. Why, sir, a rabbit once drank a brace, then laughed in a greyhound's face.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all. That was a number from the musical comedy Big Business, with music by John W. Green, recorded on March the 12th, 1934. Charles Heslop was at the centre of things, Stanford Robinson conducted the BBC Theatre Orchestra, and everybody was having a lovely time. In 1936, in addition to his duties with that orchestra, Stanford Robinson was made Director of Musical Productions, which put him in charge of producing operas for the radio. These were heady days for music broadcasting. The BBC's role as an educator was particularly important then, when opera was much scarcer up and down the country than it is now. And so operatic broadcasts on the radio were eagerly awaited by a large audience. One of the most distinguished of those broadcasts was Massenet's Manon, first broadcast in 1938 and repeated the following year due to great popular demand. Listening to the tapes of the broadcast some 60 years on, it's striking how clear the singer's words are. The opera is sung in English, which was normal then, and you get the feeling that the emphasis is on communication rather than primarily on making a nice sound. In the cast are two of the finest British singers of the day, Maggie Tate as Manon and Hedel Nash as the Chevalier des Grieux. We'll join the action towards the end of Act 1. The young Manon is contemplating her future in a convent with no great relish. Then along comes the dashing young des Grieux, and Manon's life takes a sudden and unexpected turn.
So here I stay, because I must not talk, must not think. How my fancies deride me, how the dreams of my childhood I'll dream no more. While through the city we were driving, such fine ladies I saw wearing pearls in their hair. How their glittering dresses and all the jewels in their seemed to be compared.
That shall never be, to that I'll not betray you. If you will trust yourself to me, your protector I'll be. Oh, Manon, I will not let you go, for far beyond the sea is peace above.
And hot that he and I should run away.
Yes, away!
Away together.
Yes, Madame! For now we are together. Paris calls us today.
Just us two.
Just us two by our fate, I and you.
I and you.
For united in
I
one.
and you.
There shall none say a day, we will not hold the other way. Yes, today, just us two. Paris calls us away. Just us two. When one day you will take my name. Ah, I forgot.
Yes, my house. You surely can say marriage, alas, can never be. And yet how hard is fate.
Come, Paris calls us today.
Just us two.
Just us two by our fate, I and you.
I and you.
For united in one.
And you.
There shall none say a day, we will not hold the other way. Yes, today, just us two. Paris calls us today. Just us Who's that?
That's my cousin's voice.
Come away!
How fine a man I could be if I were rich and lived in leisure.
Manon and Desgrieux elope to Paris in a coach at the end of Act 1 of Massenet's Manon. In that live BBC recording made in 1939, the title role was sung by Maggie Tate and Desgrieux by Heddle Lash. And we also heard fleetingly from Dennis Noble as Lescaut. The BBC Theatre Orchestra was conducted by Stanford Robinson, who is the subject of today's BBC Archive programme. There was life outside the BBC for Stanford Robinson. He conducted at Covent Garden, making his debut in 1937 with Die Fledermaus. After the war, he worked with the newly formed English opera group, and he was instrumental in setting up a series of operas and concerts abroad in Budapest. In 1952, Stanford Robinson went to Vienna to conduct a series of broadcasts, taking with him, amongst other things, a Schubert score. And if you thought that was dangerously like taking coals to Newcastle, I should add that this piece wasn't in the standard repertoire. It's the incomplete third movement of Schubert's unfinished symphony, the scherzo surviving in piano score, and only a scrap of melody line for the trio. The movement was completed and orchestrated by Geoffrey Bush, and it's played in this 1952 recording by the Vienna Tonkünstler Orchestra. the scherzo from Schubert's Eighth Symphony in a performing version by Jeffrey Bush. It was played by the Vienna Tonkünstler Orchestra in 1952. The conductor was Stanford Robinson. The next piece of music is the result of another collaboration, although in this case, both composers were alive at the time. Johnny Dankworth was, and still is, one of this country's most eminent and distinctive jazz composers. In 1959, he provided Macha Scheiber with a group of jazz themes, and together they came up with these improvisations for jazz band and symphony orchestra. Improvisations by Matthias Scheiber and Johnny Dankworth, performed in February 1964 by the BBC Northern Orchestra and the BBC Northern Dance Orchestra, conducted by Stanford Robinson, who seems to be quite at home with Johnny Dankworth's progressive brand of modern jazz. Incidentally, that recording was part of an experiment with stereo broadcasting. There were no stereo radios in those days, so the BBC transmitted one channel on VHF radio and the other on TV sound. Now let's go back a few decades and return to vocal music. I mentioned earlier that Robinson spent many years as a choir trainer for the BBC. One member of the BBC chorus was Laurelie Dyer, who later became a well-known soprano soloist. And in 1934, she and Stanford Robinson got married. Here are husband and wife performing together. Laurelie Dyer sings When Thou Art Dead by Eugene Goossens, with Stanford Robinson conducting the BBC Theatre Orchestra. When Thou Art Dead by Eugene Goossens, sung by Laurelie Dyer, with her husband Stanford Robinson conducting the BBC Theatre Orchestra. That came from an evening broadcast on the 20th of May 1939 called simply Saturday at 9:45. Let's hear more from Stanford Robinson himself. In 1969, he was interviewed by John Amos, and in their discussion, Robinson shed some light on working practices in the old days.
I often remind people, for the first 6 months I was there, though there were orchestral concerts all the time, there was never an orchestral rehearsal, ever. All concerts went straight on the air, and I sometimes wish they did now, because some of the half-baked recordings that one hears now really so boring that one longs for something a bit more spontaneous.
Can you remember your first go with the orchestra?
Absolutely, yes. I joined on March the 10th. March the 17th was St. Patrick's Day, and I conducted an Irish programme.
With no rehearsal?
No rehearsal, no.
Just went straight into it?
Yes, we had singers. The concerts were long those days. Concerts would be an hour and a half.
Good Lord, unrehearsed.
Oh, yes, but the orchestras you see in those days weren't used to rehearsals. You've got to remember that the ordinary London Symphony concert was 1 3-hour rehearsal in those days. The Halley, for example, the great days of the Halley with Sir Malcolm Sargent, 1 3-hour rehearsal for all concerts.
Well, it's no wonder that generation of conductors, they're all very, very businesslike men.
One has to be. If one couldn't give a clear beat, the orchestra simply couldn't do anything. I remember Sir Henry Wood, all proms were done a 1 3-hour rehearsal. And when he was given more by the BBC, 2 rehearsals, sometimes 3, the orchestras used to say he simply did the same rehearsal 3 times.
Different days, and yet something of that culture remains. London musicians have always been famous for being very good at sight reading. Next, music from the war years by Roberto Gerard. It was commissioned by the Ballet Rambert, who wanted something in the flamenco style. From it came a suite, which we'll hear now, in a recording of the premiere, which Stanford Robinson conducted on the 4th of April 1944. Alegrias is called a flamenco divertissement. But Gerard said he didn't use any authentic material in the work, although it is strongly flamenco in spirit. A prelude leads to a hakara, which the composer describes as a merrymaking but rather stately dance. That's followed by a faruca, which gets faster towards the end, and a furious gypsy dance, the jaleo. sights and sounds of Spain evoked in Roberto Gerard's ballet suite Alegrías, Happiness. Stanford Robinson conducted the BBC Theatre Orchestra. In 1946, he became Associate Conductor of the BBC Symphony Orchestra, and then in 1949 he returned to the BBC Opera Orchestra until it changed its name to the Concert Orchestra in 1952. For the next 10 years, he remained on the staff, conducting as a free agent for TV and radio, before retiring in the mid-60s after more than 40 years at the BBC. How the job of being a conductor changed during that time. In 1966, Robinson appeared on Woman's Hour, and you can detect more than a touch of wistfulness as he looks back on his career. The interviewer is Marjorie Anderson.
Do you flinch when people use the phrase light music? I mean, how do you see that developing?
Well, it's the problem, of course. Light music, there's no such thing really as light music in the great sense of the word. It's a modern name for a modern thing. It seems to be harder to write a good piece of modern light music than it is to write a good piece of modern music. And the interpretation is the same. The young conductors come along, but they all want to conduct symphonies and modern music. Nobody wants to become a great conductor of Strauss waltzes or anything of that kind.
So there's a field
not interested.
There.
So I feel it's a sort of dead end at the moment. I just like conducting music. Some it people call light, and some people call it serious. But to me, I don't really recognise any difference.
Stanford Robinson, looking back over 42 fruitful and varied years, spent mainly as a broadcasting conductor. At the end of it all, he could still tell a friend, after 40 years at the BBC, I still love music. And you can't say fairer than that. In this overview of Stanford Robinson's work, I would have liked to have played more of his choral recordings. Sadly, though, very few of them have survived in the archive. But I hope that the final work in the programme will redress the balance. It's in a genre that's characteristically English, with plenty for the chorus to do. Gilbert and Sullivan's operetta Trial by Jury, recorded in November 1962. The learned judge is George Baker, the plaintiff, Cynthia Glover, the defendant, Alexander Young, the counsel for the plaintiff, Dennis Dowling, the usher, William Parsons, and the foreman of the jury, John Frost. With the Ambrosian Singers and the BBC Concert Orchestra, conducted by Stanford Robinson. The narrator is Mark Lubbock.
Trial by Jury tells the story of a trial for breach of promise of marriage and its happy outcome. The scene is a court of justice. The bench faces the audience and extends along the back of the court. The judge's desk with canopy overhead. On the right is the jury box, and on the left, the witness box. The opening chorus is sung by barristers, attorneys and jurymen, and members of the public. Usher enters and addresses the jurymen.
Now, jurymen, hear my advice. Oh, all kinds of vulgar prejudice I pray you set aside, I pray you set aside. With stern judicial frame of mind, from bias free of every kind, this trial must be tried. Silencing fools! Silence! Oh, listen to the plaintiff's case. Observe the features of her face, the broken-hearted bride. Condole with her distress of mind. From bias free of every kind, this trial must be tried. Silencing fools! Silence! And when amid the plaintiff shrieks, the ruffianly defendant speaks upon the other side, what he may say you needn't mind. From bias free of every kind, this trial must be tried. Silencing fools! Silencing
The court of the exchequer.
It is.
Be firm, my pecker. Your evil stars in the ascendant.
Who are you?
I'm the defendant.
Must have been the managers.
Hear me, if you please. These are very strange proceedings. For permit me to remark on the merits of my pleadings. You're at present in an arm.
Permit to remark on the merits of his pleadings. We're at present in an
I knew my bosom welled with joy, my riches at her feet I threw. I was a lovesick boy, no term seemed too extravagant upon her to employ. I used to mope and sigh and pant, just like a lovesick boy. Tink-a-tank, 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 tink-a-tank. I used to mope and sigh and pant, just like a lovesick boy. But joy incessant palls the sense, and love unchanged will cloy, and she became a bore intense unto her lovesick boy. With fitful gleamer burns my flame, and I grew cold and coy. At last one morning I became another's lovesick boy. Think-a-tank, 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 think-a-tank. At last one morning I became another's lovesick boy.
A shocking young scamp of a rover, I behaved like a regular cad. But that sort of thing is all over. I am now a respectable chap, and shine with a virtuous semblance, and therefore I haven't a rap for sympathy with the defendant. He's the drink does me know if it isn't the law, sticking so readily, try the law, try the law, try the law. Sing so merrily, try the law. Try the law, try the law. Sing so merrily, try the law. Try the law, try the law. Sing so merrily, try the law. For these kind words accept my thanks, I pray. A breach of a promise we to try today. But firstly, if the time you'll not begrudge, I'll tell you how I came to be a judge. How? Let me speak. Let me speak. Let me speak.
Yes, let him speak.
Let me speak. Let me speak.
Speaks. Hush.
He'll tell us how. Friends was called to the bar, I'd an appetite fresh and hearty, but I was, as many young barristers are, an impecunious party. I'd a swallowtail coat of a beautiful blue, and a brief which I'd bought of a booby. A couple of shirts and a collar or two, and a ring that looked like a ruby.
A couple of shirts and a collar or two, and a ring that looked like a ruby.
In Westminster Hall I danced a dance like a semi-despondent fury, for I thought I never should hit on a chance of addressing a British jury. But I soon got tired of third-class journeys and dinners of bread and water. So I fell in love with Richard Turney's elderly ugly daughter.
So we fell in love with Richard Turney's elderly ugly daughter.
Richard Turney, he jumped with joy and replied to my fond professions. You reap the reward, you pluck me boy, at the Bailey and Middlesex sessions. You will soon get used to her looks, said he, and a very nice girl you'll find her. She may very well pass for 43 in the dusk with a light behind her.
She may very well pass for 43 in the dusk with a light behind her.
Richard Turney was good as his word. The briefs came trooping gaily, and every day my voice was heard at the sessions or ancient Bailey. All thieves who could my fees afford relied on my orations, and many a burglar I've restored to his friends and his relations.
Many a burglar he's restored to his friends and his relations.
At length I became as rich as the Gurneys, an incubus then I thought her. So I threw over that Richard Turney's elderly ugly daughter. The Richard Turney, my character high, tried vainly to disparage.
No!
Ah, yes. And now, if you please, I'm ready to try this breach of promise of marriage.
And now, if you please, I'm ready to try this breach of promise of marriage.
And now I'm a judge.
And a good judge too.
Yes, now I'm a judge.
And a good judge too.
Though all my law be fudge, yet I'll never, never budge. But I live and die a judge.
And a good judge too.
It was managed by a job.
And a good job too.
It was managed by a job.
And a good job too.
It is patent to the mob that my being made a knob was effected by a job.
And a good job.